Lu breaks down on set, after reading Shen Yue's hidden note in her purse. It started like any other filming day, with cameras rolling and the weight of the storyline bearing down on Bai Lu as she prepared for one of her most emotionally demanding scenes. The lights were warm, the director's voice echoed calmly through the studio, and everyone moved like clockwork. But what no one expected was that this day would turn into a real-life drama far more intense than the script they were trying to capture. Bai Lu had been quiet that morning, not withdrawn, just thoughtful, as if something was pulling at her spirit. Her co-stars noticed the slight pause in her expressions, the way she looked at the sky through the studio window, lost in something far beyond the scene they were rehearsing. It wasn't fatigue. It was something deeper. Then, during a quick wardrobe change, everything shifted. As Bai Lu opened her handbag to reach for her lip balm, a small, folded piece of beige paper fell out. It looked aged, gently creased at the corners, and slightly scented with something faintly familiar. Confused, she picked it up, thinking it was just a misplaced receipt. But when she unfolded it, her entire body froze. It was Shen Yue's handwriting. Delicate, sharp, unmistakably hers. A style Bai Lu had once known from long nights of script readings and early morning coffee chats before everything between them went quiet. No one knows exactly when or how Shen Yue had slipped that note into Bai Lu's purse. It could have been during that chaotic awards show after party, where they sat on opposite sides of the room without exchanging a single word. Or perhaps it was slipped in during that silent encounter at the dressing room hallway months ago, when neither had the courage to speak. But now it was here, and Bai Lu was reading it. One of the assistants noticed her trembling hands and tried to approach, but the look in Bai Lu's eyes was too deep to interrupt. Tears welled up instantly, and for a moment, the entire set seemed to fall away. The director called her name once, then again. She didn't answer. The note, though short, carried the weight of everything unsaid. I wish we could rewind to that night on the balcony, before everything broke, before the silence became our language. I know I can never undo what happened, but I never stopped caring, and I never stopped hoping you'd find this. It was signed simply, You. The camera crew slowly lowered their gear as whispers spread. Bai Lu was crying, not for the character, not for the scene, but for something painfully real. The kind of heartbreak that doesn't ask for permission before crashing through your chest. She excused herself and walked straight past the lights, past the production monitors, and into the hallway, gripping the note so tightly it nearly tore. One crew member followed behind quietly, concerned, but also knowing this moment wasn't theirs to fix. Inside the dressing room, Bai Lu sat down and whispered something to herself. A name, a memory. No one could hear, but her shoulders gave way under the emotion. Words spread quickly. Shen Yue's name started trending. Fans were confused, then curious, then deeply moved as someone anonymously leaked part of the note's content online. The hashtags exploded. People began piecing together timelines. The subtle glances, the cold distance at events, the missed birthdays, the heavy silence between them that had once been filled with laughter. For years, fans speculated about their falling out. No public argument, no official statement, just an eerie shift from closeness to complete silence. But now, that silence had been broken. Not with a statement, not with an interview, but with a hidden note in a purse. Later that evening, Bai Lu returned to the set. Her eyes still swollen, but her steps more grounded. She walked up to the director and quietly asked if she could reshoot the emotional scene, not because she needed a better take, but because now the emotion was real. Raw. Uncontainable. The camera rolled again. This time when she cried, it wasn't just the character breaking down. It was Bai Lu, carrying the weight of years, loss, silence, and a single message that reopened a wound she thought had already scarred over. As the scene ended, the studio remained quiet. No claps. Just quiet awe. Bai Lu handed the note to her assistant and whispered, "Keep this safe. I don't want to lose her words again." And somewhere, wherever Shen Yue was that night, she probably felt something in her chest, a silent shift in energy, like forgiveness breathing through the walls of pain. It wasn't a reconciliation. Not yet. But it was a start. A note in a purse that became a spark. And the world watched, speechless, as two hearts began to move closer again, not with grand gestures, but with the softest, quietest truth. The next morning, Bai Lu did not return to set right away. Her manager told production she needed some time alone. The crew waited in respectful silence, no one questioning her absence. The studio felt heavier without her presence, as if the walls themselves were holding their breath. Back in her apartment, Bai Lu sat on the floor with the note clutched in her hand, rereading it over and over. Shen Yue's words echoed in her chest, awakening memories she had tried hard to bury. The rooftop night they stayed up watching city lights. The birthday card Shen Yue secretly slipped into her script binder that year. The moment they stood backstage, fingers brushing, hearts racing, unsure of what they were becoming. But then came the silence. The misunderstanding that spiraled into distance. The refusal to speak out of pride. The unresolved tension that spread between them like fog neither one dared walk through. Bai Lu hadn't realized how much it still hurt. Until now. She opened her phone and scrolled through her gallery. It took a while, but she found the old photo. A selfie with Shen Yue from a long-forgotten press event. Their smiles were wide, their eyes brighter than the spotlight behind them. She zoomed in on Shen Yue's face. That light was real. That bond was real. Then, just as she was about to lock her phone, something unexpected happened. A message appeared. Not from Shen Yue, but from someone they both once trusted, their old stylist, Mei. It was simple. Lu, she left that note months ago. She wasn't sure if you'd ever find it. But I watched her write it. I watched her cry while she did. Bai Lu stared at the screen. Her chest ached. Something inside her cracked. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. She opened it cautiously, expecting her manager. But it wasn't. It was her assistant, holding something in both hands. A small box wrapped in a simple cream-colored cloth. No ribbon. No note. It was sent to the studio, her assistant said, almost whispering. We don't know who it's from. Inside the box was a compact mirror. The very one Bai Lu had gifted Shen Yue on her last birthday before the fallout. It was scratched now, but still intact. Inside it was a small pressed flower, a forget-me-not. And under the mirror, folded like a secret, was another piece of paper. Bai Lu opened it with trembling fingers. I found this while packing. It reminded me of when things were simple. If this reaches you, then maybe it's time we stopped hiding. I miss you. No signature. But it didn't need one. Tears fell again. Not the kind that crushed her. These were different. Warmer. Like rain after drought. Bai Lu picked up her phone. Her fingers hovered over Shen Yue's contact for a long moment. Then she typed. I found her note. And I read every word. If you're ready to talk, so am I. She hit send. No typing bubble appeared. No instant reply. But she didn't care. The silence had already shifted. A few hours later, Bai Lu returned to set. She didn't speak of the note or the mirror. But something in her presence had changed. Stronger. Softer. Lighter. The director nodded gently at her and handed her a new script. We rewrote the scene, he said, but feel free to do it your way. And she did. The camera rolled. She didn't act. She didn't pretend. She remembered. All the moments that led her to this day. The note. The friendship. The mistakes. The unfinished chapter. And in that performance, without even saying Shen Yue's name, she told the whole story again. The crew clapped this time. Some even cried. Because they all felt it. Forgiveness wasn't just in words. It was in the silence that had finally learned to speak.